I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing.
No, bro, I know Crawford, and he's different. And see, the only thing different here is Canelo is not a bigger guy at that weight. He's not like he's standing 6'1", 6'2" like before.
Floyd Mayweather has fired a bold warning at Canelo Álvarez after training sessions with Terence Crawford. He says Canelo is easy work and reminds everyone he beat him when he was nearly 40. Floyd blasts the constant disrespect toward American fighters, saying people act like Canelo can't be touched, but in truth he's not as unbeatable as people claim.
Choose who he want to fight, and I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Cakewalk. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
Live, only on DAZN, June 28th. Jake Paul versus Chavez Jr. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Jeff Mayweather calls Terence Crawford a once-in-a-generation talent. It's a rare kind who can jump divisions and still dominate. Jeff says not many fighters could move up and challenge someone like Canelo Álvarez, but Crawford absolutely can. Believes Crawford's ring IQ, discipline, and style put him on another level. To him, Canelo may be strong and experienced, but Crawford is sharper in every way. Jeff doesn't just see Crawford hanging in there, he sees him outclassing Canelo.
All here between Terence Crawford and Canelo fight has been talked about a long time. Initial thoughts on the potential of this fight?
Great fight, two great fighters. I think that moving up 2 weight classes is kind of tough, but if anybody can do it, I think it would be Terence Crawford. I mean, skill-wise, I think he's a better fighter than Canelo, but Canelo is also a great fighter but he owns that weight class that he's in. So I would just say that I think that Crawford has to fight almost a perfect fight to win, and take advantage of Canelo's mistakes.
Shannon Briggs brings a personal view, having watched Crawford since he was young. Says seeing Terence get ready for a mega fight like this is emotional, and truly believes Crawford will win and stop Canelo. Briggs talks from experience, knowing just how focused Crawford is and how far he's come. For him, this fight is more than a big moment. It's the peak of a long journey that he's sure will end with a statement win.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I got Crawford by stoppage, and I've known him since he was a little kid, 12 years old. So to see him now fighting for a title in such a big fight, it's a great experience, great to see.
Last question for me then. How do you think Crawford stops him? How do you think he's able to work Canelo enough for him to stop the fight, knock him down? How do you think this is possible by Crawford style?
He gonna box him. He can fight both ways. He gonna trick him up. One thing Canelo showed is that he can be outboxed. But I think this time in the late rounds, I think Crawford gonna have something for him.
Shannon, always good to see you, my friend.
You're the best, champ. Let's go, champ.
Al Bernstein gives a detailed breakdown, pointing out that Crawford moving up in weight isn't as scary as people think. He notes Canelo isn't the same explosive fighter he was 5 years ago. Time, wear, and changes in his style have dulled that sharp edge. Bernstein feels today's Canelo can be beaten, and a smart, disciplined technician like Crawford might be the one to do it.
As a fighter, so he's going pretty far up in weight. Now, Canelo himself was a 154-pounder, so, he went all the way up to 168, but there's a little difference there. And I think that that's a big issue. Now, whether that's enough to make it impossible for Crawford to win this fight, that remains to be seen. This is a different Canelo Álvarez. It's not the same one from 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, or even 3. So there's that. And then there's all the different eccentricities of each boxer. For Crawford, he's not going to hurt Canelo. But almost nobody hurts Canelo. He's got a rock chin. But can Crawford, who isn't always a volume puncher, make sure that if he's being the boxer puncher, he throws enough punches to win every round? Right. That's important. Right. And for Canelo, if he doesn't hurt Terence Crawford, which he might, can he sustain in those later rounds where we've seen Canelo Álvarez from time to time just fade a little bit? Crawford's a very good fighter into the later rounds. We saw him stop Porter, and we've seen him have other excellent performances. So, there's a lot of those questions swirling around. But right now, I don't know if I could pick either guy, really. I would have said Canelo Álvarez before.
Crawford's game is built on finesse, timing, and adaptability. He switches between orthodox and southpaw with ease, keeping perfect control of distance. He breaks opponents down piece by piece, using their habits against them. Against someone like Canelo, whose timing and power can be deadly, Crawford's ability to avoid risky exchanges and control the pace is his greatest weapon. He's not just skilled, he's a master strategist.
Somebody whose style is based around being the bigger guy, being the stronger guy. But Crawford is a very cerebral, very technical boxer, and I think that's why I'd never really considered this before. But also, I didn't actually realize until I sat down properly and thought about this, just how much weight Crawford has been piling on when he gets into the ring after the weigh-in. And look, these are not numbers that are out of the ordinary, but he's obviously cutting himself down so much in camp from whatever his walking around weight is. And it must be muscle that he's taking off. And perhaps that's why he's only fighting once a year, because there will be some fat, of course there will be, but the dude is not overweight. The dude still looks pretty ripped from what I've seen when he's not in training camp. However, there's not that many photos of him with his top off when he's not actually in training camp. So it's really hard to tell what his body...
Jumping from 147 to 168 pounds is no small feat, but Crawford is doing it with a clear plan. Whether you see it as 2 or 3 weight classes, the fact is no fighter has tried to be undisputed in 3 separate divisions. Crawford wants to make history. His transformation shows he's not just putting on pounds, he's shaping his body for top-level performance. His fitness is still elite, showing he's not just bulking up, he's leveling up.
70 pounds, which is huge, absolutely huge for a 154-pounder. Especially, it's just shocked me that he's come up from 135 and now he's still putting on that much weight. He's rehydrating that much at 154. And indeed, to bring us even closer to the modern day, the thing that was posted, and again, this is the second time we've seen this, is why I'm kind of thinking there's a bit of a theme here with Crawford posting his weight when he's not actually in full training camp. On February the 9th, 2025, he posted an Instagram story and he showed himself weighing 186 pounds on a gym scale. Now, that's so much bigger than I imagined Crawford would be. I never thought this guy would walk around at 186 pounds, which for anyone who needs the conversion is just over 84 kilograms. And now look, it's not an unthinkable weight for someone, but for someone who has fought as low as Crawford has, who is generally as lean and as in shape as Crawford is, that's a lot of weight. There's absolutely no chance. Why would he bulk up and then in the space of just over 4 months cut the best part of 31 pounds? Like, that makes no sense. So he was definitely joking about that, just like he was joking about only earning 10 million for this fight. So when he fights Canelo, he's going to be at the super middleweight limit, which is 168 pounds. So when you look at that, you sort of go, okay, that's an 18-pound weight cut, which is not bad at all. But 186 is his walking around weight. So what will his weight be that he actually cuts from to make 168?
David Benavidez has never held back his words. His claim about Canelo possibly using steroids has stirred up fresh controversy. Says he has no doubt about it, which adds more fuel to long-standing rumors about Canelo's physique and stamina. While there's no proof, these claims feed the doubts around Canelo's performance as he ages and goes up against naturally lighter, but technically sharper fighters like Crawford.
Confident in himself. I don't know why he wouldn't fight me, especially since, seeing that everybody in his team is on steroids, which means including him, so he never got off
You think he's on steroids?
Of course. Sure.
How do 5
people out of your camp get tested positive for steroids? Right. All those fucking dudes in that camp are dirty.
Leading up to the fight, Crawford's attitude has been fierce. During their face-off, he actually shoved Canelo a clear message that he's not scared of the bigger name or heavier fighter. Analysts like Showbiz The Adult say this showed Crawford's more aggressive side. He's not just moving up in weight, he's stepping up mentally too. Wants to win the mind game before the first punch is thrown.
And Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is.
Antonio Tarver says the weight difference alone won't decide this fight. He doesn't buy the idea that Canelo's size makes him an unstoppable force, saying skill will matter more than pounds. According to Tarver, if the sharp, hungry Canelo, who beat Caleb Plant, shows up, he could still make it tough. But if the slower, more patient version turns up, then Crawford will find those openings and take control.
You know, you're a fighter who's moved up right in weight and won fights. Like, so what is it that, like, what questions in your mind as a smaller fighter moving up and in the ring are you trying to ask yourself in the ring? Like, what questions are you kind of like?
No, bro, I know Crawford, and he's different. And see, the only thing different here is Canelo is not a bigger guy at that weight. He's not like he's standing 6'1", 6'2", like Bivol or one of those guys. So on fight night, the size is not going to be the main thing, the most important thing. It's going to be skill set. And both of them coming with their skill set. But what I haven't seen lately is the opponents that Canelo is facing. Those guys aren't going to get him ready for a guy like Crawford. So Canelo is going to have to go back to that grind and turn back the hands of times too. Because if he show up like he did against Skull, he show up like he did against Benavidez, not Benavidez, but Berlanga, and the other guy. What's the other guy name?
Munguia.
Munguia, bro. Those guys, he didn't have enough activity. The last time I saw Canelo that would beat, I think, this Crawford was Plant. Now that Canelo come cutting the ring off, throwing combination to the head and to the body, active. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a hell of a fight. You know what I mean? And I still think I give Crawford a chance even then. So that's what type of talent I think Crawford is. He's definitely going to have to get used to that power.